The last position we're going to cover is mount. We're going to go over really basic submission for mount. Works a really high percentage of the time, and very, very common for MMA fights, for street fights, and for beginner jiu-jitsu. Okay, so I got Dustin mounted. Again, when I have mount, I need to make sure I'm keeping my knees pinched and I'm keeping my heels glued back almost onto his legs. Right? If he starts to get crazy, then I want to bring my knees out so I got base. Okay, but otherwise I want to stay nice and tight. Also, I want to stay nice and down in here when I'm playing defensive. If he's getting crazy or whatever, I want to play down here. When I want to play offensive, I'm going to raise up so I can start chokes, MMA strikes, or attacking his arms. Okay, so if I'm going in here and trying to get chokes, a lot of times Dustin's going to cover up, right? He's going to be pulling on my arms. He's maybe in MMA, I'm striking. He's going to be covering up. And that's going to be my cue for doing the Americana for mount. So I see his arms here. I'm going to pick an arm. Both of my hands are going to windshield wipe the arm that I'm attacking. So they both go to the same arm. One goes to the wrist, one goes to the bottom part of the forearm. Okay, now from here, for me to just kind of push his arm to the side, it's going to be pretty hard because I'm using my strength versus his strength. So instead of leaning in like this and trying to push his arm like that, I'm actually going to stiff arm my arms and use my back muscles and my body muscles to come over the top and press his arm to the mat. So I'm stiff arming it down. So now I'm using my entire body instead of just his arms. From here, I'm going to take the top hand, I'm going to drop the elbow down and put it right up against his neck. If there's any space there and he ducks his head in, it makes it way, way, way harder to finish. You can still finish it, but it's way harder. So I want to keep this elbow in here. And what I'm looking for is this box. Okay, that's how I know that I'm in the right position. So from here, because now my base is lower, my upper body is lower, I need to slide my knees out for base. Right? Here, my hips are low. The second my weight comes forward, my hips go up in the air. So I need to slide my knees down to get my weight a little bit lower. To finish, the hand that was on the middle of his forearm, this one, is going to come under his tricep. Slide under and grab my own wrist. Okay, thumbs together. That's a big thing you'll learn in the beginning of jiu-jitsu. This grip feels the most natural, but in most of the positions in jiu-jitsu, this is actually a weaker grip than putting your thumbs together. From here, take my head, I put my head to the ground. Again, just mainly for base. I want to keep my head down for base. Makes it a little bit harder too for him to take his left hand and reach over the top if my head's in the way. The last little part of this, a lot of people want to just pull up on his arm. Pulling up on his arm is not going to make it as easy of a tap as it should be. He's going to be a little more flexible. Instead, what I do is I think of his fingers like a paintbrush, and I just paint the mat with his fingertips. So my head's down, I'm just slowly sliding his fingertips down the mat, and naturally it makes his elbow come up. It has nothing to do with pulling his elbow up. It has to do with sliding his hand down, and that's where the torque of the submission comes from. Not from pulling up on the elbow. Slide the fingertips down like a paintbrush. So, one last time, I'm in here, going for a choke, maybe punch choke, maybe whatever. He's covered up, he's trying to bump. Both hands windshield wiper to whatever side I'm attacking. Instead of just pushing with my arms, I get my body over it, straighten my arms straight, and use my back muscles to push and stiff arm his arm down. Drop this elbow down right up against his neck, so there's no space there, and I'm looking for this square that we have, a rectangle that we have here. Slide the knees out, make sure I got good base. This hand, at this point you could put your head down too, it's up to you, but head down's fine. From here, this free hand's gonna come under the tricep, grab your own wrist, again, thumbs together. Head down. Now to finish, I'm not pulling up on the elbow, I slide his fingertips back. Now naturally his elbow will come off the mat, but it's more about sliding his hand down to finish. Okay, so that's really good solid submission, Americana from mount.